Hello and welcome in. Addy the Nard Dog Narder here, breaking down this week's League Champ matchup. So I'm going to go through and show you a very cool feature. I think it's a little underutilized, and I want to give big props to this week's winner, Chev, the legendary ball knower. You'll see him on the Two Guys One Pod Network and FFD, but let's get into it. So we go to the contest page here. Let's open up that Week 12 rank off. And we can see here, Chev won with an accuracy of 77.85%, an average difference of 11, and I want to get into his best calls of the week. So, to view his ranks, we just click right here. It'll open up the detailed results section, and we can actually see how my ranks stacked up against Chev's. So let's start at the quarterback position. Let's go from the bottom. Chev started out strong with some good calls on Tyler Shuck at 21, finished at 22. Davis Mills, he had him at 17, finished 14. Definitely beat me by quite a bit there. We had some rougher ones. Bryce Young at 10, ended up at 20. And some better ones like Jacoby Brissett finishing at 7. Chev had him at 11. Fantastic call there. To go along with this, Chev had some nice calls moving up the board, including but not limited to Jared Goff at 5, ended up at 9. He had Stafford at 6, finished at 5. And he had Jalen Hurts at 2, nailed that one on the head. He also was better than me on Pat Mahomes there at quarterback 8, finished at quarterback 13. And remember, just to get to this one, you just go straight to the leaderboard page, click on the ranks you want to compare, and they will pop up and compare to your ranks. But let's break down the running back position. So, Chev had some nice calls in this one. He had Gainwell at 38. One of the better calls there. I know he finished at 10, but still even having him there is a solid step up. Had Brian Robinson at 39, finished at 38. He had a solid call with Tyler Algier at 30, finished 33. Emmanuel Wilson at 24, finished at 2. Those are some good moves, along with Kareem Hunt at 26, finished at 8 this week. They are feeding Kareem Hunt in Kansas City. But let's move it up the board a bit here. Going into some of the higher ranked players in the week, we had Woody Marks. Chev got that one a little bit off. 27, finished at 15, or had him at 15, finished at 27. Aaron Jones had him at 18, 29. And we have some of the better ones up here, further up the board. Travis Etienne, he had at running back 12, finished at 7. Very good call there. To go along with that, we had some of our better ones like James Cook at 5, finished at 6. That one definitely buoyed his team. Judkins, he had a little bit lower. 11, finished at 9. Solid call there. Jahmyr Gibbs, he had at 2, and he finished at 1. Those are some solid picks right there. But we're getting into the bread and butter of why Chev won in these next two position groups, receiver and tight end. So, some of the better ones that we have on the board here start around Demario Douglas. Chev had him at 38. I had him down at 50, finished at 44. Solid call there. Cooper Kupp had him a bit lower than me. Very good call on that one. We also have Parker Washington up at 29. I certainly did not have him there. I had him at 40, finished at 10 this week. Luther Burden, he had him about the same distance as me there. Alec Pierce did not live up to expectations, but some of the better ones are up and coming here. We have Josh Downs finishing at 76. Chev had him at 36. Solid call on that one. Juwan Jennings finished at 19. Chev has him at 23. That is a fantastic move right there. Khalil Shakir, 24, finished at 17. And we move it up the board. Michael Pittman had him at 18, finished at 25. Very solid one right there. And we move it into Chris Olave. I am all the way at 13, finished at 23. Chev had him at 17. That is a fantastic pick right there. Rome Odunze, we were both quite a bit off. Moving into Devontae Adams, Rashee Rice, he had him real high on Rashee. Justin Jefferson, this is one of the ones that helped out Chev there. I have still been putting Jefferson up at 7, but Chev knows to have him down. T. Higgins didn't live up to expectations with that early concussion. Nico Collins continues to be a less consistent asset with the emergence of Jaden Higgins. And JSN, I can't put him at 1, but he keeps doing it anyways. Fantastic call there by Chev. And let's break it into the tight end position, because this is where Chev's bread is buttered, as they say. Trey McBride, both had him at 1, finished at 3. That one's pretty obvious. Brock Bowers finished at 10. Chev has him at 3. Solid call there. George Kittle finished at tight end 6. We both had him around that 2-3 range. Travis Kelce at 17. Chev has him at 5. I had him at 4. Tyler Warren, let's flip-flop those bad boys. Jake Ferguson, Chev has him at 8, and he finishes at 9. Another one that I can't help myself on, Kyle Pitts, I had him at 14, finished at 31. That is going to be a rough call. We move it into some of the lower names on this list. Colston Loveland, I was a little ahead on that one. Noah Fant. Now, this one is one of the ones where you really should be listening to Chev, because I believe that Noah Fant would maintain that role, and he certainly did not, finishing at tight end 41. Dallas Goedert didn't live up to expectations. TJ Hawkinson, can't quit on that guy, but Chev had it on the nose, finishing at tight end 28. Chev had him at 24. Theo Johnson, he's right in there on. And we move it into Cade Otton, Jonnu Smith, 2 guys that Chev was on the nose for as well. Hunter Henry, he had all the way up at 7, finished at tight end 1. Real good call there. Brenton Strange, I wasn't sure would be in it on this one, but he was right there. Finished at tight end 5, and Chev had him at 12. Great call on that one. Dalton Schultz didn't really live up to expectations. We both have Freiermuth not doing as well as he did there. But the one that I really want to target here is Chig Okonkwo, who finished at tight end 19. Chev had him at 17. That is a fantastic call. That is a breakdown of how Chev did. We are going to start breaking these down for all the weekly winners, but we're starting here with the legendary ball knower. Be sure to check out Chev's work on 2 Guys, 1 Pod Show, as well as on the FFD. Congrats, man. I look forward to the jersey order.